This came after the Northern Territory government declared 10 Melbourne suburbs as hotspots while the plane was in the air.
That's right, Pete. The government called a news conference at 3 p.m. yesterday where they announced those 10 hotspot suburbs for Melbourne. Of course, that came after that one case of COVID-19 was recorded in Victoria. Here's the Chief Minister, Michael Gunner, speaking at that news conference yesterday.
We contacted the airlines in advance to let them know that we will be meeting today and making a decision, and that the people on that flight could, so make sure the people on the plane knew. We contacted the airlines, so they could be landing into a isolate and test or quarantine situation, so they were informed before they got on the plane.
The passengers aboard the plane, Pete, told a slightly different story. They said that there was quite a bit of confusion. They weren't told until that plane had landed in Darwin at about 4:30 yesterday afternoon that those hotspots had been declared and that many of them would be heading into supervised quarantine. Now, those passengers were interviewed when they arrived at the airport. It took almost 3 hours for some of them to get through the terminal here. It was at about 7:30 that the last of those passengers came out. They were the ones who were, in fact, heading to Howard Springs to that supervised quarantine facility. I spoke to some of the passengers at the airport last night and people who were waiting for loved ones to arrive. Here's a bit of what they had to say.
Basically, we rocked up and then they said over the intercom that some government officials would be talking to us. And then while we were mid-air, they declared that it was a hotspot. We went out for dinner in Chinatown last night and that was what killed us. So we were going to visit some family and friends, but not anymore.
It's for the best, you know. It's good that this government is actually stomping on it. Melbourne is a hotspot. You just have to be realistic about it.
It surprised me everyone's pretty cooperative, and you know, and it's one of the funny things I find about human nature is everyone kind of looked out for each other a little bit, and you know, everyone became real friendly with each other. When you sit next to them, you don't say anything for 4 hours, and all of a sudden you're best mates. So.
It's upsetting. After 3 years, like you can't see your own grandson. So, yeah, and I can't do much about it.
Now, just quickly going through those hotspot suburbs, Pete, they have been listed by the Northern Territory government. It's Brighton, Clayton South, Heatherton, Keysborough, Melbourne City, Moorabbin, Noble Park, Springvale, West Melbourne and Wheelers Hill. So anyone coming to the Northern Territory now who have been in those hotspot areas will have to go into supervised quarantine. Those people who arrived yesterday will have their quarantine paid for by the Northern Territory government. Some of them will opt to stay and spend the 2 weeks in quarantine. Others have elected to take a flight back to Melbourne.
Okay, Matt Cunningham, thank you.